Hello guys, welcome back. In the previous session we have learned material budget. So far what you have covered is sales budget, which is a quantitative budget, and along with the quantities of sales we also have sales value also. So sales budget has quantity as well as value. Then we have learned about production units budget, production cost budget, material quantity budget, material cost budget. Now going further to do about overheads budget. Now before I go to overheads budget, I want to just recap with the concept of variable cost and fixed cost once again. Now what do you mean by a variable cost and what do you mean by a fixed cost? In marginal costing we have discussed it. Again, it is very important for us here because when you say variable cost, it is varying with the output. Whenever there is a change in the quantity, there would be change in the cost also. When the sales increase, the cost also increase. When the sales or the sales quantity or sales value decreases, certain cost also will decrease. That cost we call it as variable cost. And what do you mean by a fixed cost? The fixed cost is a cost which remains constant irrespective of the change, irrespective of your level of output. See, I want to make it more clear with this example, or maybe you can take it as a principle of this. See, when I'm talking about variable cost, you should remember that it will be constant per unit. It will be constant per unit and it will change in total. It will change in total. See, per unit it is constant, total it will vary. So when you talk about fixed cost, it will be constant in total. It will change per unit wise. See, what you should understand here is variable cost is constant per unit wise and fixed cost is constant in total. So whenever we are talking about variable cost, we will talk about where it is constant, and whenever we are talking about fixed cost, we are going to talk where it is constant. That means I want you to understand the variable cost per unit and fixed cost in total. Variable cost per unit and fixed cost in total is our point where you should keep in mind whenever you're doing any problem, whether it is a flexible budget or overhead budget. You should keep in mind that variable cost per unit will be constant, fixed cost in total will be constant. For example, if I say that let us say that he says at 70% capacity, fixed cost is 4 lakhs. Now when I say at 70% capacity fixed cost is 4 lakhs, so at 80% capacity, how much it should be? Fixed cost will be how much? This is the question asked. Fixed cost, we are talking in total, whether it is at 70% or at 80% or at 90% or at 40%, fixed cost will be same. It will be 4 lakhs only. So I will take the same figure here because that is constant in total. Similarly, when I'm talking about variable cost, if I convert this, the same question into say variable cost, let's say at 70% capacity, variable cost is 2,80,000. So at 80% capacity, variable cost is how much? Can you say I will simply copy the same 2,80,000 here? The answer is no, because I'm talking about variable cost. Variable cost in total cannot be the same. It will change. So I will write for 70% if it is 2,80,000, because it is directly proportionate. For 80%, how much? For 70 units, if it is 2,80,000, for 80 units, how much? I can take it that way, right? So this gives me 2,80,000 into 80 by 70. So it should be coming to 3,60,000. 7 4s, 4 8s, 32. It should be 3,20,000. All right. So 3,20,000 is the answer. So can you say the variable cost was and is same? No, the variable cost in total will change. But if I take the same thing, my fixed cost at 70% was 4 lakhs, 70% capacity, and 80% capacity also my fixed cost will be 4 lakhs only. Why? Fixed cost does not change in total. This is the fundamental concept you have to keep in mind, especially when you're doing overhead budget and flexible budgets. So let me proceed with the question here. The 12th question you can see, question number 12. From the information given below, prepare a manufacturing overhead budget for the quarter ending 31st December 2000. So this question is asking you to prepare manufacturing overheads budget. Budgeted output during the quarter is 5,000. So this is question number 12. This is manufacturing overhead budget. What do you mean by overheads? Overhead means indirect expense. Overhead means indirect expense. So budgeted output during the period is 5,000, and he gave fixed overheads. See, I have to tell you something here. Sir, what is the format of preparing this budget? It's as simple as it is. We are just going to add the variable cost and the fixed cost. So if it is given as fixed cost first here, I'm writing here fixed cost. The fixed cost given in the question, you can see fixed overheads is 30,000 rupees. So fixed overheads is 30,000 rupees. Straight away I'm writing here. Can I write it straight away? Yes, because fixed overheads, if he says 30, whether it is at 5,000 units or this is 5,000 units, whether it is 5,000 units budgeted or 4,000 units or see 3,000 units or 5,000 units, whatever it is, the fixed cost will be same 30,000 only. Fixed overheads, variable overheads varying at the rate of 5 per unit. Now he says variable overheads, variable cost, variable overheads. Now when you look at the variable overheads, he says varying at the rate of 5 per unit. Now see, he says varying at the rate of 5 per unit, but he gave total as 15,000. Now if it is 5 rupees per unit, 5 rupees per unit, how many units you are preparing the budget for? 5,000. So if I have to write it, it should be 5,000 units at the rate of 5 per each unit. It should be 25,000, isn't it? Sir, then why did he give 15,000? Maybe that was actually planned for something else. So if it is at 5 rupees per unit and the total is 15,000, what are you talking about? 15,000 rupees at the rate of 5 means, that means you're talking at 3,000 units budget, right? You have given me information at 3,000 units, but I am doing the budget at 5,000 units. So for 3,000, if it is 15,000, for 5,000, how much? Or I know per unit of variable cost remains constant. I'll take 5 rupees per unit as constant, multiplied with number of units, that is 5,000. So 5,000 into 5, 25,000. Then semi-variable overheads. Now you should understand what do you mean by semi-variable overheads. Semi-variable overheads means it is partly fixed and partly variable. So some part of the semi-variable cost is variable, some part of it is fixed. Now if you look at that in the brackets, he says 40% is fixed and 60% varying at the rate of 3 per unit. So what will vary? Only the variable cost. So the variable cost of semi-variable portion is given to me. I'll try to put this up a little up. So variable cost, variable overheads is 5,000 into 5. This was 25,000. Now I'm going for semi-variable cost. Now semi-variable cost may I have both the components, fixed overheads and variable overheads. Now if you look at the question, he says 40% is fixed and 60% varying at the rate of 3 per unit. See, this is very clearly told me it is for 5,000 units varying at the rate of 3 per unit, correct? 5,000 into 3. 5,000 into 3 gives me 15,000. So I can straight away write this is 15,000. But I want very fixed cost. How do you find out this fixed cost? Now guys, you should understand here, if 60% is varying at 3 per unit, right? If 60% is 3 rupees, then remaining 40% should be how much? Let me try this way. So 3 into 4 by 6. So 1 by 2. 2 rupees per unit is fixed. Now I am talking about fixed component. Now I already told you that fixed component, this is not visible, it is 2 rupees. So fixed component, I already told you that fixed cost per unit will not be constant. I have to convert this 2 rupees into total. Now tell me, if 2 rupees is per unit, how much is the total fixed cost? You have to correlate with what units he was talking about. All this question he was talking about 3,000 units. So we will try to find out the fixed cost at 3,000 units. So fixed cost in semi-variable, fixed cost in semi-variable is 2 rupees per unit. For 3,000 units is 6,000 rupees. Correct? So I will bring it here and write 6,000 directly. Sir, why 6,000, sir? Even though it is for 5,000 units, why are you writing 6,000? Because if it is at 3,000 units, 6,000. For 5,000 units also, it will be 6,000. Sir, why is it so? Because it is fixed cost. 30,000. What you told is maybe for whatever like you have directly given me this 30,000. But here in semi-variable, you told me 60% is 3, so 40% should be 2. 3 rupees per unit I took for 5,000 units. I multiplied because it is variable. But in this fixed portion is 2 rupees. 2 rupees for the present level of output. Always remember the fixed cost should be converted into total before you can take it to the solution. So club this 30, 50, 60, 70, 6,000 is the total manufacturing overheads for 5,000 units. You can also say per unit also, but this small problem will tell you exactly how to look at the variable cost and fixed cost. Can I proceed? Now come to the today's document which I have shared with you guys. Question number 13, you can see. Question number 13. Prepare a manufacturing overhead budget and ascertain the manufacturing overhead rates at 50% and 70% capacities. The following particulars are given at 60% capacity. So what he gave is at 60% capacity and he is asking you to do it at 50 and 70% capacities. So this 13th question, I am preparing a manufacturing overheads budget and I'm going to prepare this at 3 levels. One is 60% which is given, 50% and 70% which you are asking me to do. Capacity. So 50%, 60% is given, 50 and 70 is asking us to do. Now first one, variable overheads. In that we have indirect material, Indirect material. How much did he give? 6,000. 6,000. Now you tell me, can I take the 6,000 same as 6,000 here and here? The answer is no, because it is variable. Variable in total cannot be the same. When the capacity changes, when the output decreases or increases, the variable cost also will change, because variable cost is directly proportionate to your output. So I cannot take it the same here. I have to find out for 60%, if it is 6,000, for 50%, how much? Cross multiplication, you do it, you'll get 5,000. This is for 5,000. Same for 60%, if it is 6,000 rupees, for 70%, how much it should be? It will give me 7,000 rupees. You can just calculate 6,000 into 70 by 60, right? That is about the first working. Then we have indirect labor. Indirect labor. Indirect labor is given as 18,000. 18,000. Can I copy the same 18,000 in these two places? Answer is yes or no. Answer is no. Why? Because it is variable cost. Variable cost in total cannot be the same. So same calculations you have to do. For 60%, if it is 18,000, for 50%, how much? So 6 3s, 3 5s, 15,000 it will be. And for 60%, if it is 18,000, for 70%, how much? 6 3s, 18, 3 7s, 21,000. So if you see, when the output decreases, your variable cost decreases. When the output increases, your variable cost increases. So this is what is variable cost all about. Then we have semi-variable cost. The next we have is semi-variable overheads. Now semi-variable overheads, just now I told you, semi-variable overheads means it will have both the variable cost as well as the fixed cost. I have the place here for workings, so I have to do all my workings here only. Electricity is given as 40% fixed. Now, if you see, electricity is given as 30,000 rupees. Can you see that? Yes. Electricity in total is given as 30,000. That is for 60% capacity. You all know it. In that, it says 40% is fixed. So in this, we have 40% fixed. 60% is variable. So 4 3s 12,000 is fixed. 6 3s 18,000 is variable. Okay. Now the question is, I need not worry about the fixed cost, because if it is 12 fixed in this, it will be 12 fixed anytime. I am only worried about 18,000. So 60% capacity pay, because this all is, I'm not taking this 60% here, I'm talking about this 60% capacity. 60% capacity pay, if it is 18,000, 50% capacity pay, how much it should be? 60% capacity pay, if it is 18,000, 70% capacity pay, how much it should be? So guys, you should understand electricity here. Electricity, what is given to me here is 30,000. I'm making it into two components, electricity variable and electricity fixed. Actually, you can do this in your workings and add it and show it here, because I don't have space here for the workings. I'm clubbing it here on in the solution itself. So given statement, electricity fixed is 12, variable is 18. So it is 18,000 plus 12,000, 30, right? So this 12,000 remains 12,000 even at 50% capacity, even at 70% capacity. But this 18,000, which is at 60% variable, for 50% it will be 15,000, because we just calculated 18 will become 15 and 21. So 60% pay if it is 18, 50% pay it is 15, 70% pay it is 21. So if you want, you can club this two. It is 30, 27, 43. Okay. Same with the other semi-variable, repairs and maintenance. So repairs and maintenance also we have variable component. Repairs and maintenance we have fixed component. So let me do the same thing for repairs and maintenance also. So repairs and maintenance is given as the total amount is 3,000 rupees. In this 3,000, something is fixed, something is variable. 30%, 20% is variable. So this is 20% variable. That means 80% is fixed. 83 is 2,400 is fixed. 2,600 is variable. I have no problem with the fixed component. 2,400, 2,400, 2,400 is fixed component of the repairs and maintenance. But what about 600? For 60% capacity, if it is 600, for 50% capacity, how much it will be? It will be equal to 500. So it is 600 here, it will be 500 here, and 700 here. Because if you calculate 60%, if it is 600, 70%, how much? Cross multiplication gives you 700. I hope you have understood what I'm talking about. Then we have fixed overheads. Fixed overheads, we have three parts here: depreciation, insurance, and one more is salaries. Depreciation, insurance, and salaries. The figures what given here are 16,500, 4,500, 15,000. Do you need any calculations for this part? Not at all, because it is fixed overheads. These three figures will be same anywhere. So I can just copy this. 16,500 is copied here and here. Irrespective of the level of output, the cost will be same. 4,500 in all levels and 15,000 in all levels. So by this, the calculation part is done. You simply have to take the total here. You simply have to take the totals there. The totals are coming to 93,000, what is given in the question itself. If you add all these things, 5,000 plus 15,000 plus 15, 12, 500, 2,400, 16, 5, 4, 5, and 15. Total is coming to 85,900. And the last one is 1,01,000. 1,01,000. And he gave you estimated direct labor hours also. See, once you know the labor hours, you can find out the overhead recovery rate. What you have studied in your cost accounting, we call it as overhead recovery rates, also called as absorption rates. You can say this is the overhead divided by direct labor hours. So now you have, for example, for 60% capacity, your total expenditure is 93,000 rupees, and the direct labor hours given in the question is 1,86,000. So if you divide 93,000 divided by 1,86,000 hours, it gives me 50 paise. So overhead rate is 50 paise per labor hour. You can also find out at 50% and 70% capacities. Now the question to you guys is this 1,86,000 going to be same for 50 and 70% capacity also? The answer is no, because when the capacity changes, labor hours also will change. So that one part last, I'll try to tell you. You have to do it in the same way as we have done it for variables. So for 60% capacity, I'm talking about direct labor hours. For 60% capacity, if you're saying 1,86,000, for 50% capacity, how much it should be? Similarly, for 60% capacity, if it is 1,86,000 labor hours, for 50% capacity, how much it should be? You can get direct labor hours like this. Once you have the direct labor hours, you can definitely find out the overhead recovery rate per labor hour also. This is okay. This is all about your manufacturing overhead budget. So what are the two important points you should keep in mind? One, whenever we are talking about variable cost, always talk per unit, because you have to proportionately change. For 60%, if it is this much, for the required percentage, how much? For given percentage, if it is this much, for the required percentage, how much? It's always a cross multiplication concept where you will directly find out the new figure. But when it comes to fixed cost, we are not bothered about calculation part, because fixed cost remains constant irrespective of the level of output. Is it okay? We'll stop it here. Thank you.